Hey, what's up, guys? Dan the Movie Man here, and today, the second installment of Discovering Kurosawa, we are reviewing Yojimbo. This, while not as good of a movie as Seven Samurai, was a much more fun movie than Seven Samurai. It once again stars Toshiro Mifune, who was quickly becoming one of my favorite actors of all time, and he plays a traveling Ronin who wanders into this town that has been taken over by two warring factions. Um, all the performances in this movie, first of all, that's the big thing. They're great. From Toshiro as Sanjuro, and some of the other actors. You have the sake seller, the guy that runs the restaurant. You have the coffin maker. You have the leaders of these factions. It's all very acted well. The one of the guys that stood out to me was the guy playing the brother of one of the leaders in the factions. He's really, really just over the top and hilarious, but it works. It works well for this movie. Um, Shio's character is very mysterious. Like, it reminds me of The Man with No Name, which, from what I've gathered, is kind of based off Yojimbo. A Fistful of Dollars is definitely based off Yojimbo, but the character is actually based off the same character, which I thought was pretty cool. The fighting scenes in this are fantastic. The choreography, Toshiro's movements, you could tell he studied and he trained for a good little while before this movie. He totally commands the screen. Like, he owns, so far from what I've seen, every movie he's in, he just owns it. Toshiro Mifune is fantastic. He commands presence, and you cannot take your eyes off him. He's so captivating. The innkeeper has a nice, and he's kind of cynical and untrusting of Sanjuro until he hears what happens at a certain part of the movie. I don't want to spoil anything, and then he goes out of his way to help Sanjuro. And that's Sanjuro, by the way, is not officially the character's name. It's a name he comes up with on the spot. So he's very much like the Man with No Name. But he tries to play to both warring factions. He offers his services to both of them. He's toying with them both, playing them against each other when they try to make peace. He's very manipulative and very cunning, very smart and funny. I mean, there's a scene in the movie where he tries to prove himself to these factions, and he kills two guys and cuts off the arm of the other guy. And by the way, this is much more graphic than Seven Samurai. I mean, when he first walks into town, you see a dog running off with a hand in his mouth. So I mean, it's a little more graphic than Seven Samurai. But he just straight up kills two dudes and cuts another one's arm off. And then he tells the coffin maker, make two coffins. And he looks at the guy who's got his arm cut off and he goes, make it three. Like, he knows. Like, he knows how good he is, and he's showing off at that point, But it works. I mean, both sides try and hire him. They kind of fight over him. They have meetings with him, and I mean, and all the while he just keeps going back to this restaurant and talking to the restaurant owner, and just telling him his whole plan. I'm gonna play them against each other. I mean, they're gonna offer me this. They're gonna offer me that. And this is what's gonna happen. And he's right every single time. It does go to a head, though, and something happens that he is not ready for, and he gets put in a bad position, and he has to depend on the sake seller, or the restaurant owner. I'm calling him the sake seller because that's what he was credited as on a bunch of websites, so I'm just going to say sake seller. But he has to depend on him, really, not just to help him out, but his life's depending on him at a point in this movie. And it's so much fun. It's so smart. A lot more simpler story than Seven Samurai. A lot shorter. I mean, it's just shy of 2 hours. But it's an extremely fun and entertaining movie. And Kurosawa's direction, as always, or at least from Seven Samurai, it carries over. I mean, it's fantastic. The moving parts. There's this guy who always comes out before something happens, whether it's a fight or an inspector coming or whatever, and he comes and rings this bell, and he's like, it's midnight, it's midnight, oh, it's 3 a.m., it's 3 a.m., whatever, and that's really cool. And once again with the screen wipes, I mentioned this in Seven Samurai, so many screen wipes, which I love. I love screen wipes. I wish we saw more screen wipes today. I know some people think they're bad and look bad, but I love screen wipes. I think they have. I mean, I wouldn't put them in certain movies. Like I wouldn't put screen wipes in like Her, but screen wipes in like an epic or a samurai movie, or I think they work. I think they work very well, and I like screen wipes. So let's deal with it. But Kurosawa, once again, like the movement. And I mentioned this in Seven Samurai, but there's always something going on in frame. Always. There's one scene where he's just sitting down talking to the sake seller, but he's stirring a pot, or he's being held up in this like little shack thing out on the outskirts, but you see like and hear the trees and stuff in the wind, and it's very nice, and it's very there's always something to keep your attention, and the dialogue. I mean, the dialogue is fantastic. There's never a dull moment in this movie. This is not a movie you will struggle to get through. This is a movie that will keep you on the edge of your seat, keep you entertained throughout all the way throughout. And the performances, the script, the direction, the camera work, and the music again. I've heard about Kurosawa a lot. I've heard about his films before I started watching them, but I've never heard about the scores, and these scores are fantastic so far. Seven Samurai was fantastic. Yojimbo's fantastic. I can't wait to see some of the other scores in this thing, and in Kurosawa movies. And I still have a long way to go. I have a lot of Akira Kurosawa to watch, but so far I'm having a blast. I'm ready to move on to the next movie, which I will be making a review for next week, and that is the sequel to Yojimbo, Sanjuro. So look out for that next week. I will be putting up my review of Sanjuro, and I'll just go ahead and tell you, because I've watched ahead a little bit. In 2 weeks, the review I'll be putting up will be for Rashomon. So that will be coming right after Sanjuro in 2 weeks. So next week, Sanjuro. The week after, Rashomon. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you're discovering Kurosawa along with me. I hope that it's expanding your knowledge of films, and maybe you discover a film that you genuinely love. That's already happened to me. So I've loved both of these films so far, and I've loved some of the films that are coming up that I've already watched now. But it's just fantastic, and if you haven't checked out any of these movies I've reviewed so far, you need to. They are amazing. Akira Kurosawa is great, fantastic. Toshiro Mifune might be my favorite actor. So just, check him out. Give him a shot. I mean, all you got to do is get past the language and that it's in black and white. That's all you got to do. Just put subtitles on. You'll be fine. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Comment down below what you thought. If you've seen this movie, what were your thoughts on it? And maybe if I convinced you to see the movie, who knows? I'll see you guys in the next one.